Hey guys, this is Bobo the Vulture.
I'm Richard Ames. I'm actually
That
Serious GG.
I am Father Hulk.
That's right, brother.
This is WWF SmackDown, or WWE SmackDown. Here comes the pain. And we do have enough points to add a half a point onto one of your strongest abilities.
One of my strengths, which is the most strength.
One of your strengths is strength.
If they refuse to see the bumblebees, why don't they eat bugs?
Don't
Try to
talk
get a
me,
hardcore
G.
tunnel match.
No.
He won't let us.
Just check out your...
61 points. Get out of here. This is dropping lives. Well, you know what? Let's get another title screen to see.
Do we have enough money? Oh, we have 7750. You want Sable or Tori?
It's a tough call. Go with Sable in the hopes that this will win the affections of Goldberg. I mean, Brock Lesnar to join our stable, even though it's Goldberg that we want our stable. So never mind. That didn't make any sense at all.
Okay.
Kane versus Goldberg.
You've got a match against Stone Cold? Stone Cold? Stone Cold?
Oh, Goldberg beat Kane, and I know I can beat Goldberg, so maybe I can get the hardcore title later.
There you go.
Tornado tag match. Dudley's beat Evolution. How they do that is a mystery.
Sure.
Maybe Scott Steiner will come to our rescue now.
Hey, what is this?
Is that Sable? Yeah, that's Sable. Okay. I didn't know for a second.
Oh, this is his solid gold vest, apparently.
Which has the ability to penetrate the old NWA WCW title.
Oh, boy.
Back when Ric Flair wore this belt, his robe used to penetrate it from behind, off out of the front. Clip
Well,
through
speaking
it.
of WCW, I was having some trouble lately. Well, not trouble, but like, you know, I've been trying to make some moves in my personal life here, and
Making $1 million moves.
yeah, some $1 million moves, and I was like, literally, I had just been turned down from a position that I thought I might get. It looked like it was going to be pretty good, and I was thinking, well, like, all right, so let's start from nothing. Let's see, if I was going to try and get into a new career, what would I try and do? I've always kind of been interested in voice work. I know, me and everybody else who talks into a microphone. But I was thinking about this, and I got a phone call, and this voice says a name, and it's not my name. And the phone number said unknown, so I was like, I thought it was going to be one of those telemarketing calls, you know, the ones that they have now, where it's like, it says the wrong name, and you say no, and then it says, oh, well, maybe you can help me. I'm raising money for blank.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the whole thing. And so I was already in a bad mood, so I essentially had no patience for this, so I was just like, no. And it says, well, this is Tony Schiavone. I was looking for... This is Tony Schiavone. I was looking for blank. And, and so, Tony Schiavone, who wrestling fans will know as the play-by-play... Well, was he the play-by-play or who was the color man?
He was
Who's
the
technically
play-by-play.
considered- Yeah, he was the play-by-play man.
Because he was with Bobby Heenan, who was color, and then he was with Dusty Rhodes, who was color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I always get it confused because he was with JR for a period of time, but JR also sort of does more of a play-by-play job than
Damn, I'm getting my butt kicked by Stone Cold. Stone Cold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, that's to be expected. Stone Cold is probably the most
Probably got
highly
maxed
skilled
attributes.
stats guy in this game.
It was just certainly reversed my first real offensive move in a long time.
So yeah, Tony Schiavone, who was for many, many years the voice of WCW, essentially, and is now the voice of the Gwinnett Stripers, formerly the Gwinnett Braves, formerly the Richmond Braves, a minor league affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. But give me a call on the phone, because JG had basically set up a thing. It was initially, he said it was going to be a surprise, but I'm kind of glad I knew about it, because even the way that it turned out, I already thought it was some variety of telemarketer. And if somebody had just called me and said, "Well, this is Tony Schiavone," I was like, I probably would have thought, "Well, this is some kind of prank I don't understand."
No, I bought you a T-shirt from his podcast, and they have this thing where he calls people who buy T-shirts and congratulate or thanks them.
Yeah.
So I gave them
this T-shirt.
I gave them Bobo's phone number and bought him a T-shirt so that he would get a T-shirt from the Tony Schiavone podcast and would get a phone call from Tony Schiavone. That was one of Bobo's Christmas gifts for me this year.
Yeah, it was really great. Tony Schiavone, turns out it's just a super nice guy. I was sort of already a little bit out of sorts by the way the conversation had started, and by the fact that I hadn't really, like, I knew that it was something that was supposed to happen, but I kind of forgotten about it, because it was like a month.
Yeah.
Or more. Because I imagine a lot of people tried to take advantage of that. Tony Schiavone's only got so many hours a day, where he could be trying to do this sort of thing. But and that was one of the things he did apologize for it taking the amount of time that it did. And, you know, I basically told him that I admired sort of, like, you know, his body of work and how he managed to do some things on his terms. And I sort of commiserated. I understood that, like, if you're in an industry where there's maybe only one or two employers, that if somebody in one particular place or another just doesn't like something about you, then that can really sort of screw you up. Because
so you had this sympathetic conversation with Tony Schiavone about his employment situation a couple of years prior.
Yeah, well, I mean, for people who don't know, and of course I only know this through basically hearsay and interviews that took place after the fact, but I guess, like, that there seems to be, the word seems to be that, like, Vince McMahon basically just didn't like Tony Schiavone's voice. Like, he didn't like his accent. He thought he
was too southern.
Which is weird, because, like, JR is the most popular guy in the...
Although apparently he doesn't really like JR's announcing either. He just had to accept that that's the most popular with his own fan base.
Yeah. Although you do seem to be coming back around on that.
Yeah, I'm studiously avoiding being in the ring where he could potentially pin me.
And, you know, and I told him that I admired the way that, you know, that not only had he managed to do that for a while, and that I'd said, like, you know, and that's an industry like that. Like, I work in the news business, and, like, basically, you know, if you're in a town in the news business, like, there's gonna be there's a newspaper, there's a radio station or a TV station or something, and, like, that's it. And he said, "Oh, really? Well, my son's in the news business." He works for, and I guess I won't say who he works for, just in case that turns out to be an issue. But, like, it's like, oh yeah,
I evaded the stunner. I was really concerned there for a second. Even my stun him from the outside tactic has led to me getting countered, like, the last several times.
Yeah. And it's weird because, like, and I want to say, like, I've been fortunate in a sense in my life that I've actually managed to have brief conversations with a number of people that I like, a number of, like, semi-famous people that I admire. A number of comedians I've managed to interact with either by going to their shows and sticking around, or in one instance did a thing where I got to study with one of them, and, like, a few other things here and there. So, like, I'm sort of at the point now where, like, I don't know if I'm over being starstruck by speaking with people, or if I just do it now by basically just having a super casual conversation with them. But, like, I sort of ended up getting into this conversation where I was sort of asking him about how he's doing, what's going on with him, without asking any of the, like, because I imagine you get a call from a, like, wrestling resource that's been in the business at a high level for a long time. You're supposed to ask questions about, like, well, or even something like, oh, well, like, who's the hardest guy to work with, or, like, what's this particular wrestler really like, or, you know, that story about Ric Flair and the Black Scorpion mask.
Well, he's the one who tells that story.
Yes. Did that really happen? Tell me about it. What was that? What was the deal with that? But no, I just was like, oh yeah. So, like, and I, you know, and he said that you know, he told me that his son was in the news business and he was having some struggles trying to advance in there too. And I was like, oh yeah. Well, and I was familiar with the outlet that he said he worked for. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a rough deal. And, like, people on TV, they make money, but if you're not one of those guys, you're probably not. And it's just a lot of work. I talked to him a little bit about the Braves and about how I was familiar. Stunner! He just stole the stunner from Stone Cold, so that's pretty nice.
I'm just trying to make up for losing humiliating fashion to Kane.
You
I
just
don't know how else to do it. Beat Stone Cold with the stunner.
And I told him about how I was familiar with the team that he now does commentary for, like he's the like
MLW wrestling or something.
well
No,
no
he's baseball. He does.
he does a minor league baseball team. He's like the voice at the stadium. And I was like, oh yeah, and back when they used to be the Richmond Braves, I was going to college there years ago, and I would look out and I'd see the lights on game nights, and so like, wow, that's really cool. Well, anyhow, so like at that point in time, like, yeah, I've probably talked to you for like between 5 and 10 minutes at this point. Probably do need to move on, so it's just a really cool experience. But at the same time, I hung up and I was like, I was just talking about how I wanted to try and get into a career of doing some kind of announcing or voice or things like that. I just got done talking to Tony Schiavone and I didn't ask him any good questions about, hey, what is it that you do to start doing this?
Well, I mean, obviously, you had to put Tony Schiavone's concerns and worries ahead of your own.
Apparently so.
You didn't ask him anything about the Yeti, or
I didn't ask him about the Yeti or about giant haystacks or.
Good guy Bobo. He definitely can't join JG's faction. He's just too nice. Here, JG's being hit by a storm of violence after the match. He's like, you stole the fucking stunner. What?
He's knocked out. I know it looks like he's moving there, but don't believe it.
Oh, curb stomp, except he missed. Wait, King, look who it is. It's Godzilla 6'9". Holy shit, the whole screw. He's knocked out, you can tell by the way he's moving. What? I thought he rejected his handshake? His handshake brings all the freaks to the yard. Good. They are now united. These two men are going to make quite an impact on TNA, if that's still what it's called, and I'm pretty sure it's not.
Pretty sure it's just called Impact now.
Was that Bean?
That was Bean. So, probably wrap it up with this.
It's too bad our faction's finally taking shape here.
Little JG bump.
Did you pick up?
JG, the judicious grappler.
And do it.
We better save it here before we head into Minneapolis. Screw
oh man,
you, St.
we should do another card because Bean can come back right in the middle of Minneapolis Raw. That would be really exciting for her, right?
That would be super exciting. Although, if I wanna start leaning on the program,
Shaman, JG isn't the technical master you deserve, but he may be the technical master you need.
Well, if I want to start nitpicking at the programmers here, I would imagine if they were going into that market, they would probably have a show at the XL Energy Center, which is technically in St. Paul. So.
You mean they're not playing at Viking Stadium?
No, they're not playing at the... Although, honestly, if they just had the Super Bowl there, that's probably the kind of place they would have a WrestleMania. What's the WrestleMania this year?
I don't remember. I want to say it's been in New Orleans the last couple of years, but I don't think it is this year. I don't remember.
Yeah, well.
One of these years I gotta go to WrestleMania, and considering it comes fairly close to my birthday. Oh my god, I gave away the general time of year when my birthday is. Yeah, I like one of these days I just gotta treat myself to WrestleMania. I keep waiting for somebody to buy it for me as a surprise gift. But then again, the ticket's pretty freaking pricey, so.
Yeah. I mean, I try and check every year to see where it's going to be and see if it's like a place that I could conceivably travel to. Like if it was going to be in Minneapolis, I'm like, well, okay.
But you know, if it's going to be in Seoul, you know, in Pyongyang, for example, it's like I don't think I'll go this year.
Well, you know, if they plan on if it's like WrestleMania 32 collision in Korea too.
It's like, oh, we're gonna have WrestleMania Pyongyang. The main event is gonna be Braun Strowman versus Antonio Inoki in front of a crowd of 100,000 people who are being forced to cheer at gunpoint.
I have to go back and because like that's out on, well, whatever like VHS version of that card that they
Collision in
put
Korea.
out. Yeah.
That's like that's like one of a small number of pay-per-views WWE owns that is not on.
Well, so maybe you would have to find alternate means.
Maybe you can find alternate commentary.
Yeah, find alternate commentary by Tony Shivani.
Yeah, well, he didn't call it technically. Mike Tenay did.
Yeah.
So yes, that's true.
Oh my god! They would just, he'd sort of talk over any of the promos.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he and Conrad Thompson could call it again. So you couldn't hear Mike Tenay trying to talk about lucha masks as Ric Flair is wrestling Antonio Inoki. Mike Tenay just keeps going off with these long asides about how many Bolanos there are.
Oh boy. So yeah, folks. I am liking the way that our stable's forming up so far. On bright side, Big Papa Pump's going to be with us. Downside, it's looking like Stone Cold will be part of our opposition.
Well, so now I'm wondering though, because I was thinking, yeah, you're gonna fight the corporation. Maybe not, unless they just flat out make Stone Cold allied with Vince McMahon against you. In which case, I'll be a little disappointed, but that they're not preventing that from happening, because I guarantee you there won't be special dialogue about how crazy that is. He'll just come out and be like, "Thank you, Mr. McMahon. I worked for you."
Now, what would be nice is if in that section, even if they didn't change any of the dialogue, just any of those segments, or like the first segment that shows him as a part of the corporation, both Stone Cold and Vince are wearing tiny cowboy hats.
Kurt Angle is part of their faction.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. All right. Well,
I don't have time for this.
Okay. Well, then I guess we better get going. Until next time, though. This is Bobo the Vulture.
I'm William.
Are you?
I mean, I'm Sir GG. What's the JG stand for? It stands for William.
There you go. Answers given. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see all of you next time.
May the road rise to meet you and the wind be always at your back.